The ultimate purpose of the sophisticated manipulation of these individuals may sound unrealistic, depending upon our interpretive understanding of the physical and spiritual realms. The deepest and darkest altars within bloodliners are purported to be dormant until the Antichrist is revealed. These New World Order altars supposedly contain callback orders and instructions to train and or initiate a large influx of people, possibly combs or soulless ones, thereby stimulating social control programs into the new millennium. Non-biological twinning is yet another bizarre feature observed within monarch programming. For instance, two young non-related children would be ceremoniously initiated in a magical soul bonding ritual so they might be inseparably paired for eternity, possibly another Mandel connection. They essentially share two halves of the program information, making them independent upon one another. Paranormal phenomena such as astral projection, telepathy, ESP, etc., appear to be more pronounced between those who have undergone this process. Levels of Monarch programming. Alpha, regarded as general or regular programming within the base control personality, characterized by extremely pronounced memory retention, along with substantially increased physical strength and visual acuity. Alpha programming is accomplished through deliberately subdividing the victim's personality, which, in essence, causes a left brain right brain division, allowing for a program union of L and R through neuron pathway stimulation. Beta, referred to as sexual programming. This programming eliminates all learned moral convictions and stimulates the primitive sexual instincts devoid of inhibitions. Yes, it makes the subject sexually fluid to the point where they go into sexual depravity, breaking down natural inhibitions. It's kind of like what you saw with Will Smith trying to like force his way on his son by kissing him, trying to get his son to break that natural inhibition. This is what they practice. This is what they do in the entertainment industry. It also says cat altars may come out at this level. Yes, where you have this, this beta male sex kitten programming, the women as well, where certain names also apply, like Katy Perry, which is a play on Kitty Purry. The cat woman. The cat programming is something that's based in sexual fluidity. Let you know that the person is a sex slave, man or woman. Delta. This is known as killer programming, originally developed for training special agents or elite soldiers, i.e., Delta Force, 1st Earth Battalion, Mossad, etc., in covert operations. Optimal adrenal output and controlled aggression is evident. Subjects are devoid of fear, very systematic in carrying out their assignment. Self destruct or suicide instructions are layered in at this level. So, Delta programming just goes into the aspect of a person who's built for it, who's highly trained for combat in a way where they can lead a battalion or they can lead the troops. Theta, considered to be psychic programming. Bloodliners, which is those coming from multi-generational satanic families, were determined to exhibit a greater propensity for having telepathic abilities than did non-bloodliners. Due to its evident limitations, however, various forms of electronic mind control systems were developed and introduced, namely biomedical human telemetry, devices, brain implants, directed energy lasers using microwaves and or electromagnetics. It is reported that they are used in conjunction with highly advanced computers and sophisticated satellite tracking systems. Certain things that you see in movies where it's like they convey it to you, but that's the undertone of what the industry is. So it's like you see these movies and it goes right over your head because this is something that's not, conventional, or this is something that's not publicly accepted. But this is what is a part of the world. This is what is a part of the hub. Omega, a self-destruct form of programming, also known as code green. The corresponding behaviors include suicidal tendencies and or self-mutilation. This program is generally activated when the victim/survivor begins therapy or interrogation and too much memory is being recovered. Gamma, another form of system protection, is through deception programming, which elicits misinformation and misdirection. This level is intertwined with demonology and tends to regenerate itself at a later time if inappropriately deactivated. So that's gamma, that's deceptive programming, misinformation, misdirection, subterfuge. So the reason why I wanted to dive into this in regards to going into the details of it is because one of my subscribers asked me a question about it, and he wanted to know more about it in regards to the intricacies, the insight. So this is a very, very good reference, this book right here from Brice Taylor, Thanks for the Memories. So methods and components. The initial process begins with creating dissociation within the subject, usually occurring from the time of birth to about 6 years. This is primarily achieved through the use of electroshock treatment and is at times performed even when the child is in the mother's womb. Due to the severe trauma induced through ETT, sexual abuse, and other methods, the mind splits off into alternate personalities from the core, different alters, different sub-personas. The mind splits off into alternate personalities from the core. Formerly referred to as multiple personality disorder, it is presently recognized as DID, dissociative identity disorder, and is the basis for Monarch programming. Further conditioning of the victim's mind is enhanced through hypnotism, double bind coercion, pleasure pain reversals, food, water, sleep, and sensory deprivation, along with various drugs which alter certain cerebral functions. And this is all true. And these are all the things I mentioned throughout my videos when it comes to just going back to this as a reference, because this is a big part of the entertainment industry. This is a big prominent part of the entertainment industry. It's just one of the undertones of it. When you see these celebrities drift off and they just in a whole nother world, think about this. Think about this. The next stage is to embed and compress detailed commands or messages within a specific alter. This is achieved through the use of high-tech headsets in conjunction with computer-driven generators which emit inaudible sound waves or harmonics that affect the NRA covering of neuron pathways to the subconscious and unconscious mind. Virtual reality optical devices are sometimes used simultaneously with the harmonic generators projecting pulsating colored lights, subliminal and split-screen visuals. High voltage electroshock is then used for memory dissolution. Programming is updated periodically and reinforced through visual, auditory, and written mediums. Some of the first programming themes included The Wizard of Oz and Alice in the Wonderland, both heavily saturated with occultic symbolism. Yes, all true. All true. Many of the recent Disney movies and cartoons are used in a twofold manner, of course. It's meant to convey something on a subliminal level, and it's also meant to convey something on a superliminal level, or more so overt level. Disney movies and cartoons are used in a twofold manner, desensitizing the majority of the population using subliminals and neuro-linguistic programming, and deliberately constructing specific triggers and keys for base programming of highly impressionable monarch children who come from the Disney clubhouse. Come from the Disney clubhouse, man. Music plays an instrumental role in programming. Through combinations of variable tones, rhythms, and words, Frightmeister Stephen King's numerous novels and subsequent movies are purported by credible sources to be used for such villainous purposes. One of his latest books, Insomnia, features a picture of King with the trigger phrase, "We never sleep," indicative of someone with MPD or DID, below an all-seeing eye. We already understand what the all-seeing eye represents, going back to the Eye of Horus and Hathor, also representing the Eye of Providence, And the eye also is indicative of the mind. The eye is also indicative of the mind. That's why some of the 5 percenters, they say you got to see with your mind and not with your eyes. You know, so just something that's apropos. Just remind me of what the 5 percenters say. We already understand what that's about. Just when it comes to the origins of it, we already understand the all-seeing eye is something that's esoteric in nature, also based in Luciferianism, Masonry. The all-seeing eye, representing the eye of providence, representing the all-knowing one. Stephen King is someone who was a Luciferian, and also going into the black, white, and red theme, as you all can see. Just wanted to go into this image here as reference in the book that we're going through. Recent informative mind control related movies. So just as we saw with the image for the novel Insomnia, you can look at an image like that and you'll see something like that similar on a movie poster. So the motif is always a big conveyance. Any sort of esoteric imagery, they always gonna have some sort of conveyance that's based in Luciferianism, esotericism, so on and so forth. Recent informative mind control related movies: Total Recall, Brainstorm, Long Kiss Goodnight, Johnny Mnemonic, Conspiracy Theory, Minefield, 12 Monkeys, Barbed Wire, Fortress, Trancers 3, Jacob's Ladder, Videodrome, Circuitry Man. You know what's funny? I pronounced that word all wrong. Because sometimes you look at words for so long and you forget the pronunciation of it. It says circuitry man. I remember I said circuitry or something like that. So excuse me for my mispronunciation. But circuitry man, lawnmower man, color of night, blade, enemy of state, adventures of Baron von Munchausen, and knife configuration. Older movies include Altered States, Stepford Wives, and the classic Manchurian Candidate. And I'm sure many of you brothers are aware of the majority of these movies that you see here. Because just like I said, just going back to what I read when we reading up, you'll see these in these movies in terms of the conveyance of the undertone of the entertainment industry. And the reason why I say undertone because I don't want to just single out MK Ultra. That's a part of the undertones, but you also have the advent of Luciferian expression, Luciferian conveyance. You also have, the things that they do in terms of the groves and whatnot, who they pray to, the seances, the blood drinking, the sacrifices, the ceremonies, so on and so forth. It's much deeper than just mind control, but that's a big, big, big element.